Hello everybody, welcome back to Drew's Creations. What we have here in front of us, well, you can see, I don't even have to tell you. Yep, I couldn't stay away from them. I had to have it. I saw it and I had to have it. Yeah, that screw's loose because I was in the process of taking the top cover off and I said, you know what, I'm gonna turn the camera on because this is camera worthy to me. I don't always turn the camera on because I don't always have something that I feel is camera worthy, but I feel like this is. To my knowledge, this is a 1986 model. There's the code, or the tag, if it'll focus. It's got oil on it because I spilled a little bit pouring some in it. That's why it's so oily. That, and it probably needs new cap seals. Who knows? It's old. But, yep, there it is. It's finally focused. Anyway, yep, to my knowledge, this is a 1986. And as you can see, it's in pristine shape. I need to tear it down and do an actual, like, thorough cleaning. As you can see, there's a little bit of dirt in certain spots that kind of annoys me, but at the same time, I'm like, it's kind of nice because, you know, this saw was used just a little bit, but it was taken care of. I actually bought this saw probably, it's been over a month now. And of course, the guy drained the gas out of it for shipping and all that. I just put the bar on it recently. It wasn't even on the thing for a while. That's the original bar, so you can tell how much it's actually been used. I don't know if it's the original chain or not, but it's a Carlton chain, so I don't know what these would have came with when they were new. It could have came with a Carlton, so if anybody knows what these came with when they were new, feel free to drop it down in the comments as to whether or not this is the original chain. It is a pro chain, so it very well could be. It's not no safety record chain, and this is a pro saw. So could have been a original chain too. So if so, that goes to show just how little this thing has been used. But we were in the process of taking the top cover off because I poured gas in this thing and I decided I wanted to hear it run. And I'm assuming the carb is original, probably never been touched, and I don't know if we're getting gas yet or if we're not getting gas, or you know, if it's flooded or what. So I'm gonna take the top cover off and probably pull the plug and see if it's wet and decide what we got going on here. But anyway, let me get this top cover off and I'll bring y'all back. All right, so it's literally 30 seconds later. I got the top cover off, and this is exactly the way it is when I pulled the top cover off. It's got a little sawdust up in there. It's been used a little, but not bad. I did just take an air hose and blow it through this thing because it had styrofoam, because the guy put packing peanuts in the box. So I had them like shoved up in behind the muffler and everything, and I figured if it fired up, it was gonna melt those. So I was like, well, let's blow this thing out before we try to start it. And yeah, she's clean. Other than that stuff, like I said, I need to kind of do a thorough cleaning on this thing. It's in really, really good shape, but a little bit of dirt here and there. So it, you know, it has been used. But I mean, that's the air filter. It's literally the way it was, and some of that could be from me blowing air up under everything. So there's no telling. But definitely got a new spark plug. It looks like an NGK. Looks like, yep, BPMR 7A. So it's got the correct plug in it. So we're gonna pull that and see if it's wet real quick, and maybe check spark otherwise, make sure it's got good spark. The guy did send me a video of it running when I bought it. The tune sounded like it was a little off, but I figured that's the case with most old saws. But anyway, let's get that plug pulled, see what we got, and we'll go from there. All right, well, if it'll focus. We got the plug out. I don't know, I'm gonna try bringing it in. It may lose focus here. But it's definitely a relatively new plug. It really don't even have much time on it at all. It's got a little bit of carbon on it. Looks like this saw hadn't been up to operating temperature in a while. Probably hadn't been put under a load because it probably hadn't cut anything in a long time. But anyway, definitely new plug. And it looks relatively dry to me. I mean, it had a little bit of oil residue on it, which is normal, but other than that, it was pretty dry. So I had it choked and switches on. Sometimes I like to make sure the needles like to stick in old carbs. It usually goes one of two ways. When a saw has if it's an old original carburetor that probably hasn't been gone through, what happens is it may run fine as long as it's got gas in it, and then you drain the gas and you let it sit for some period of time, and the diaphragms were already kind of on edge, and they'll either stick and cause the needle to stick, which will flood them, or they'll stick closed and won't allow any fuel to pass, which I think is what we're getting. I'm going to try to pull the air filter, and I'm going to dump a little bit down its throat and see if it pops off, and maybe it'll take off, because sometimes they will. Sometimes it needs more impulse, and sometimes it takes popping them off to really pump the diaphragms and the carb to bring them back around. So if it takes off after a time or two of that, we'll know. And if not, then I guess we will be getting a carburetor kit, which I'm probably going to get for it anyway, just to freshen it up. Because if y'all been following me for any period of time, you know I got a nice 394 XP, and it was kind of in the same situation. It's a really clean saw, had sat on a shelf for a long, long time. Fuel put in it, same story, and then I ended up it would always start, but it seemed like every time I would bring it out and mess with it, I was having to tweak the carburetor, and it would always act like it wasn't getting enough fuel. And eventually that just led to the fact that it needed a carb kit. It was dried out. I put a carb kit in it, a genuine Tilly carb or Walbro carb kit, whichever. And I always buy genuine kits too. That's something else. If you can get genuine kits, they make a big difference. They cost probably twice as much, but there's a reason why. The quality's there. If you're just trying to build a saw quick just to play with or whatever, or you're experimenting with different fuel, you know, like methanol or something like that, I can see running cheap kits, because you know you're going to destroy them anyway. But if it's an old classic, something you want to run or whatever, or you want to be reliable, OEM kits, that's the way to go. So anyway, we're going to do what I said. I'm going to pop this plug back in there. It looks pretty good. And we'll pull that air filter off next, and we'll throw a little down her throat and see if she'll cheat for us. So I don't know if I'll be able to get that on camera, but if it stays running, I don't have a tripod at the moment, but if it stays running, I will bring y'all back and update you on progress. So that's what we're gonna do. Well, we didn't put the top cover back on yet, but that's because it fired off, and we just brought it outside so it didn't smoke themselves out. This is what we got. It was idling a little high to start with. Now I idled it down. Definitely gonna need some fine tuning, because it's a little bit rich here and there, but I don't want to adjust on it too much till I got it good and hot. But it is sitting there running, and it does take throttle. So the 266 lives. She's a little rich, but as I said, it's been sitting. It needs a good cleaning, but there she be. I don't want to run it too long without the top cover, get it too hot, but it's running good. I'm pretty happy. It did put up a little bit of fight, so I think the carb was dry from sitting for like a month or so. It took a little bit. It took about three times of priming and ripping the choke on, so it pulled a whole bunch of vacuum on that diaphragm. But so I'm still may end up having to put a carb kit in it anyway, which I probably will do just to freshen it up. Maybe a fuel line too, just so that everything's new and fresh. But anyway, this is my new 266, new to me 266, guys. Figured I'd show y'all this beauty of a 266 that I stumbled upon. I told myself I wasn't gonna get no more 2 Series, but I've always had kind of a soft spot for 266s, and I've had a good many over the years, but never one super clean like this, so this is kind of what I've always wanted. And I found one other time, but it looked really clean. And when I got it, they got it and told me it had a bunch of aftermarket parts. The clutch cover was aftermarket and several other things, and it just kind of annoyed me. It wasn't really what I wanted. So a buddy of mine said he didn't mind, he didn't care, so he ended up buying it off of me for what I had in it, and he still owns it to this day, and it's been a great saw. It still runs good, but still got that aftermarket clutch cover on it, and I don't know, I'm just not a fan. But anyway, yep, we'll have to bring this thing back out one day and maybe film changing the carb kit and maybe going out and cutting a little wood with this thing. Probably not going to cut with that bar on it though, because that bar is nostalgic to me, so we'll probably put another bar on it to cut with it. But I don't want to knock, you know, any more paint off that bar than what's already on it. So we'll probably do that one day. I'll probably do that before we clean it up, because I don't want to clean it up and then go cut with it and dirty it back up. So that's probably what we'll do, guys. But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this quick little video of my new to me, pristine, beautiful 266. It's as close to NOS as it gets without actually being NOS. So NOS saws to me are kind of a pain, because I want to put gas in them so bad, but at the same time I know it's wrong. They were meant to run, but it's kind of a shame to, you know, do that, because it devalues them a whole lot when they've had gas in it. So all right, guys, well, today's the day. It's actually the very next day after filming the first part of that video where we got this thing running. I went digging through all my stuff at home last night, and I knew I had it, but I wasn't sure where. But I found, wherever I put it over here, I found a new genuine carb kit. So yeah, I knew I had one, just had to find it. But yesterday off camera we worked on that thing too, and these are basically the same saw. They're both 266s. This is just the John's Red Cutter's Edge version, and we got this thing dug out of the building and put it back together as well. It was all tore apart in a box, tore it apart for a tank swap, and in the middle of swapping tanks realized the fuel line was bad and it was leaking pretty bad. So I didn't want to put it back together like that, and at the time I didn't have time, so I just threw it in a box and left it, and it's been sitting for a while. Well, I put the fuel line in it, got it all back together, and didn't want to run, so guess what it needed? One of these as well. And my good buddy Brennan had one, and I ended up putting it in that saw yesterday and got it going as well. And then today I found the one that I had, and it's going in this saw. Now this saw does run, but I still feel like it needs a kit. I feel like it's going to act goofy, and it's never going to act exactly right, so I'm sure it's a little dry. I haven't tried to start it today, but I didn't want it to get all hot before working on it. But yeah, that's what we're doing. We're going to put a kit in this thing. Just got through putting a clutch, well, not a clutch, but a new drum, sprocket, and whole kit. Basically everything right here is what I just swapped. That shim that goes in the clutch so it don't lock up, the sprocket that came off of it. You can see it's pretty worn. And as a matter of fact, that's still the 404 sprocket, because this was a fire and rescue saw. So this saw has never cut real wood. It's still been a fire and rescue saw its whole life. So that's actually 404. So good thing we swapped that too. And that's still fine, but we swapped it anyway because my kit actually had an NOS kit and it came with a new one. The bearing in this drum was shot, so it had a lot of slop in it. And in the midst of all that, I did put it back together for now, but I did find out the clutch springs are shot, so I'm going to try to either find springs, maybe even a new clutch, and then all that will be 100% new. And I've got spikes hiding somewhere. As soon as I find them, they're going to go on this saw, and that saw will be 100% done. This one here, we've got the inner spike, but I need to find an outer spike for it, so it'll be complete. I used to have a full wrap for these, but I wished I wouldn't have got rid of it. unfortunately. I thought I was done with these, and well, as you can see, I've got 2 more. And honestly, I've loved 266s for a long time, as I've said. And I wanted a really, really clean 266 XP. This is a odd year because this one is the year they made the switch. So it says SE here, but the top cover says XP. And I found out that this is when they started getting all the goodies, the better carburetor and better muffler and some other things. They made some changes when they switched over to the XP. So that is the original top cover, and this is the original cover, but it's when they made the transition. So this thing has got some, and it's still got the metal clutch cover. So it's still got the old style SE clutch cover, which I think is pretty cool. And it actually works good. Most of these don't work good, and they're all bent. Actually, this is the only one I think I've ever seen that's not bent and actually works like it should. So I thought that was pretty cool as well. Yeah, I know we're missing a screw here. I got to try to locate one because I don't want to put mismatched hardware in this thing. And I don't think I've got a flathead like these to put in it. But that's, I think, the only thing that's missing is that screw there. But I think once we put this kit and maybe this fuel line right here, I think it takes this style. If it doesn't, I'll make something work, because I've got grommets and stuff that fit in these and work. Oh, and that boot right there for the throttle's missing. I don't know if somebody didn't put it back in or it deteriorated or what, but I'm gonna try to look and see if I can find one of them, because it's pretty important for dust. I think that's why this carb compartment's pretty nasty. It's from that boot being missing. So we'll try to locate one of those and as well and see what we can get. But anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get this thing snatched apart, and I'm just gonna kind of bring y'all along as we go here, because I don't have a tripod, so we'll just bring y'all along as we go here. All right, so we got the carb off. We went outside and already took the liberty of blowing it off, as well as that, and blew the carb compartment out. It's still nasty, but it's got some oil residue, and all that stuff's kind of sticking. So I'm gonna have to take a rag and wipe all that out now. And there's still some more gunk up in it. Places I think I'm gonna. The fuel line it's still there, it's intact. But as I said, I'm pretty sure it's the original. It's very squishy. And usually when they get like that, they're on their way out. I mean, it might last a couple more years, but while I'm here, I have one. So there's the part number for that if anybody was wondering. You can pause the video and get it. And this is the part number for the carb kits for these Tillies, in case anybody was wondering. You can pause the video and get that. But yeah. So here we go. We got a Tilly, and we're gonna get it tore apart. These are one of my favorite carburetors. But anyway, we're gonna get this thing tore apart, and I'm gonna put a kit in it. So that's where we're at right now. We'll bring you back. So guys, you'll have to excuse the noise because the air is kicked on, but figured I'd bring y'all along and show you this. It's been a while since I've seen one quite this nasty. And it's honestly surprising because the way this saw was running, I mean, fairly decent. But I have not touched this. I pulled the diaphragm off, and this is exactly how it looked when I took it off. It's got some cellulite and some old dead gas in there. You can see that's the screen, and it's black. I mean, it's pretty nasty. So the carb kit, this is the pump side. It's actually not too bad. So it's probably all that dirt causing it to be so, I mean, not run as it should. I could tell. Like I said, I've had a bunch of these things, and I know when they're right and when they're not. This thing was acting a little bit weird. But it was actually idling and running and revving and doing all the things. So, but I bet if you was to take it and put it in wood over time, it probably would have started to act out worse. But nonetheless, I'm going to put a kit in it anyway, because that kit's probably old. But anyway, I just wanted to bring y'all along to show y'all that. This is the pump side, and it's pretty nasty. We're going to get it all cleaned up, put a new screen in it, and should be good to go. So anyway, yeah, keep a look on that. This is where your fuel comes in right here through that inlet and stuff, and it passes through to your needle through that screen. And well, if that screen's clogged up, it'll definitely restrict your fuel. So that's something to look for on any carb like this. These tillies are nice and big, so they're easy to see, but you know, even some smaller stuff, that's important. Yep, we're gonna get this taken care of, and then we're gonna take this side off and see what it looks like. All right, so we got that side apart. I went ahead and decided to just take the whole thing apart. Usually I do them one side at a time, but this one being, a lot of the ones I've taken apart are usually clean, so I don't worry about it. This one here, with it being nasty like it was, you can see I've cleaned it up some, and that residue right there, that's just brake cleaner. But I just wanted to make sure that's your pass through from the screen to your needle, and I wanted to make sure that it was good and clean. So I took both sides apart so I could blow straight through it with a straw, make sure that it was good, and then we're just going to reassemble the whole thing. The diaphragms actually were in good shape, so I'm kind of surprised. I didn't expect this saw to have that in there, but sometimes, like I say, clean stuff will surprise you. And I've taken saws apart that were nasty as all get out, and carburetor be spotless on the inside, so you just never know. But those diaphragms are actually in good shape, and so was that one. They really don't need to be replaced, but I've got a kit, and I don't plan on getting rid of the saw. So, I mean, I just want to go ahead and, for preventative maintenance, I'm going to change it anyway, since I have a kit already. But that would run just fine. The biggest issue was that trash, but fuel line still needs to be changed regardless, so we're going to do that as well. But yeah, that's where we're at. We're going to get this carb rebuilt, put it back together, and then we're going to pop this tank down and change that fuel line out. So that's what we're doing next. All right, folks, it's been about a week now, and as you can see, we got this girl back together. Last clip, this is a different day, but in the last clip you saw this thing, it'd be like no time for y'all, but for me, like I said, it's been about a week. I went, as you know, we put the new drum on and the new drive and all that stuff, but in the midst of all that, I had forgotten that this clutch was sacked out. Well, the clutch itself, the shoes look, they look decent. They could be cleaned up a little. It's a usable clutch. It's not, we're not gonna throw it away, but the springs were the culprit. It's shot. You can hear that. It's rattling because it's loose, and it's not supposed to be that way. So we went and overpaid for a NOS brand new clutch. So this whole assembly, drum, sprocket, bearing, drive assembly, and clutch, springs, all of it's brand new NOS. So we have a 100% brand new clutch on this saw. Well, like I said, we're gonna keep this, and I'll get some springs for it, and I'll keep this on the shelf for a rainy day or something that's, something else that needs a clutch on it, because 2 Series clutches are not getting any easier to find, trust me, and they're getting expensive because we just found that one and it was not cheap. But anyway, I really like this saw. I've always kind of wanted one of these cutter's edge 670s, and well, I wanted it to be usable whenever I want it to be used, and be a good solid saw, be reliable if I want it to be. So if I want to go cut with it all day, I can. Not that I do that very often, but yeah, I never know what I'm going to do, what I'm going to get into, and I might just grab a saw and go. And sometimes, I don't want to deal with problems. So I like for things to be reliable. Anyway, so the last thing we need for the saw is spikes, cause the cutter's edge don't come with that. They come with a bumper. And this saw actually had the original bar and 404 sprocket and the bumper and the shield that goes on the front of these things that protects the case, and the slider and the big aluminum plate. I took all that off because, as I said, I want to turn it into a chainsaw. So when I do finally cut wood with this thing, it'll be the first time that it's ever actually cut wood, not a roof or whatever. So it'll be cool to, take a saw that's, 20, 30 years old and go cut wood with it that, it's never actually cut wood with. And I do have some of these new air filters, but they're not cheap. So probably going to try to use that one for a little bit, keep an eye on it. I do need to oil it. I'm gonna clean it, oil it real good. I just got it sitting on there for now before I actually do anything with it. But yeah, you can. I do have some of these, and they're not super cheap either. So we're gonna try to use this one because it still feels pretty good. It's not all dry and falling apart real bad. There's one bad spot right back here, but it's got multiple layers, and I might actually do something to try to glue that back together and continue using that one for a little while. And if I'm gonna keep an eye on it, I'll use it a little bit, and if I start seeing any kind of fines get through or anything, then it'll be done for. But with a good oil job, it shouldn't let nothing through because those filters are made for a lot of use. So, and this one's still in pretty good shape. It's still pliable, it's still squishy, and the foam's actually still pretty nice. So try to get some more use out of that. But anyway, as far as spikes go, somewhere or another, I have a set of spikes for this thing that I ordered for it back like a year ago. And I moved, and I don't know where anything's at right now. So rather than trying to buy another set, I'm gonna hold off and go through some of my stuff. And eventually I will find them, and this all will be complete. As I said, we don't need it at the moment. So we're just slowly but surely, you know, using this or getting this thing dialed in. But as of right now, if I wanted to go cut with this thing, I could. It just wouldn't have a set of spikes on it. It is ready to go. Freshly rebuilt carb, new fuel line in the last little bit of video, and now a whole brand new clutch. And that was, as far as I know, all this thing needs. Probably needs a good tune job, but we'll do that when we get a bar on it and get it in some wood. But I want to get the spike. I'd really like to get the spikes on it first before we do that. And the only thing that's not original is this handle. It'd be cool to get an original John's Red handle of that era, but these are actually very, very nice handles. They're newer Husky handles, so I actually don't mind that. That's the only thing that's not original on it. And this thing actually still got the fire sticker from where the original fire department this thing came from. And the cutter's edge place that is no longer in is the Julian, California cutter's edge. Still got the cutter's edge sticker. So it's pretty cool. And it's still got the original gas sticker, and it's got the fire department carved into it, which is pretty cool. I think that says station 4 or whatever that says. So pretty cool little piece of history right here. Anyway, we got it dialed in. I just wanted to bring y'all along and show y'all that she is done. Clutch is on there. It's nice and tight. It's all new. And I had to fix that thing too. That's a little off topic, but that's my Husky 326. I think it's a LS weed eater, LX, one of the two. Anyway, all the 326s are really good weed eaters. Any of that series is awesome. I'm a really tall guy, and that thing's got a really long shaft, so it works out nice for a tall guy, and it's super, super light. It is probably one of my favorite weed eaters, and you can't buy those anymore. All the ones they sell now, I haven't had my hands on, but I'm assuming they're all stratoed up, and they got catalyst mufflers, because some of them do. Some of this series does. So they just don't run as good. And not to mention, I don't do a whole lot of grass cutting anymore, so buying a brand new weed eater is out of the question for me, because I don't want to spend $400 on one. So I had to fix this thing. Last year, I acquired this thing, and it had been sitting out in the weather. This thing actually is, believe it or not, pretty low hour motor, but somebody left it sitting outside for a while, and it faded the plastics and ruined it. As far as that goes, I'd like to find a new set of plastics for it, because as you can tell, the tank is not really discolored. That's just rust from other stuff sitting on it and dead gas. Still working on trying to get the tank super clean, but I just had to put that new cover on because the spring in the old original cover had broken. Pulled this thing out this year. Had a trailer that was surrounded in grass, and I was wanting to knock the grass down around the trailer so I could get to it better. I went to pull the rope on this thing after putting gas in it, pulled it 2 or 3 times, and it just quit. So went and looked for the pulley and spring set up, and it was like $25, and I found an NOS cover for less than that. So just snatched the cover up and we just installed it and got her back going again. And she still runs like a champ. Last year I put a brand new carb, primer bulb, and original OE style fuel lines. The only thing that's leaking now is the gas cap. So we might end up replacing it eventually, but I love these things. If you ever need a good weed eater, any of these old Huskies, the 223, most of that series, all but like the 128s, just stay away from those, are pretty good weed eaters. The 326 is my favorite though. Random, that was off topic, but anyway, this saw is done. The really nice 266 is done. Spikes for this, and we need an outer spike for the other one, which I have the spikes for this, I have both, but we need an outer spike for the other 266, and both saws will be 100% done. And eventually we'll make a video on cutting with both of them, and maybe we'll do a little comparison. I think that'd be a cool video. Two bone stock saws that are, the motors are supposed to be relatively the same. Cylinder configuration slightly different. And some people say timing's a little different, but I've never put a wheel on one of these to verify. But they're both bone stock, and this is the Cutter's Edge outfit, so obviously it's got a little better air filter and velocity stack, so theoretically this one should outcut the other one, but we don't know. And maybe we'll do a video on both, and we'll find out for ourselves. But anyway, so if y'all would like to see that video, just let me know. As of right now, that's all I got for you on the Cutter's Edge 670 and the 266 XP that I got, the mint one. So anyway, that's all I got for you. Until next time, Drew's Creations, over and out.